Warning. What the hell just happened? What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Once Upon a Time, Season 7, Episode 9. Episodes 9, I wrote in the... Yeah, if you missed it, see episodes. There's two.
There's episodes?
Yeah.
Episodes 9?
Yeah, 2. I'm your host, Dom.
I only watched one!
Joining me is Rachel.
Apparently, I'm in my own little, Rapunzel place.
Yeah.
That's a box.
There you go. You're in your own little box.
I do have long hair, but you can't see it because it's up right now. Not that long.
Not that long, no. Yeah, unfortunately, Jake could not make it tonight. He had some family obligations, and Nikki's a bit under the weather. So it is just me and Rachel tonight. Hello, Mr. Alex in chat. How's it going? Yeah, but this episode, just...
Oh my god, so much... It's like everything's unraveling.
Yeah, it's like that moment, right? We have real Rapunzel, right? And I started thinking, because I remember last episode I was talking about how I was upset that it wasn't the same Rapunzel, you know, and because Wish World and every...
Yeah.
But that wasn't Wish World. That's what I realized after the fact, that Hook was not... Rogers, rather, was not in Wish World at the time. Like, he was in the other realm, so... Yeah. Because instantly when I'm thinking Rogers, I'm like, oh, he's Wish Realm Hook, so Wish...
He's in real...
Wish, whatever, and...
I can never say that!
Yeah.
Wish Realm.
So... No, this Rapunzel totally makes plenty of sense. There's nothing out of whack here. I don't know what tangent I was going off on last week. But yeah, no, this one makes perfect sense. And here we have Rapunzel trying to help her sick family. And she's stealing food from Gothel's garden. And Gothel catches her. And she's like, look, I will do anything to help my family. Gothel's like, anything? I can work with that. So she casts a little poofy spell on her, whisks her away into the tower.
It was like magic beans.
Yeah, kinda. It's like the diamond painting you see people do. You know, like where they have the pen with the thing and they stick it on the paper. Like, it just looks like a bunch of those, like, you know, all in a jar.
It kind of reminded me of pomegranate seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just threw pomegranate seeds there. Here!
Yeah, and it kind of entangled her, which it tangled,
it was
you know, yeah. So that was really cool, and then she gets whisked away to the tower, in which Rogers and Gothel were in the previous episodes flashbacks, or the previous double episodes flashbacks. But here we see her Rapunzel now when she's in the tower. And Gothel explains, you know, how she got her. She leans out the tower and she's calling for her family. She's calling for Marcus, you know, her husband. And then she calls out for Anastasia and Gisela.
So Gisela is her biological child, apparently.
And my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped.
I was like, well, moment. There goes our theory.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so Rapunzel is...
Lady Tremaine, which was her husband's name.
Right.
And
that is insane.
Yeah, they totally took this. I know that they took the story of Cinderella and totally twisted it around.
Yeah, I love it.
Like they normally, and I did. It was a shocker. And I love that. I love the fact that it's like, holy crap. Well, okay, she just treated Gisela like shit.
More or less, yeah.
And you see the reason. As we go on, you see the reasons why. Gisela treated her mom like shit because she was pretty young. She was maybe 4.
Yeah, she's significantly younger than Anastasia.
Yes, she was 3 or 4 when her mom left, and she said that was 5 or 7 years. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, but what's interesting to me is because time has passed and everything, and we see Anastasia, and she's literally. It seems like. Not only is her breath locked in, but it seems like she's locked in time because she now seems younger than Gisela.
Yeah, she is. She got when you die, you don't age anymore. So she was
technically,
Well, she got walked. She just got walked in that moment, and so she's older but younger, kind of like I mean, another show we do
Mm-hmm.
where the older cousin is really younger now,
Yeah.
younger than the cousin. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah. No, is fantastic, and it's just like all the stuff that we saw with Rapunzel and stuff, it's like the classic Rapunzel story, the long hair, using it to climb down the tower. But she did that because she saw these lanterns in the sky. And she follows them and finds Anastasia and Drizella. They were leaving these lanterns to kind of help their mother find their way home. It was mainly Anastasia doing it. Drizella was just kind of like, why are you still doing this? Like, she's about giving up.
She gave up. Well, she was young, and then I'm pretty sure not too long after he remarried, and she, needing a mother figure, kind of clung to Cecilia. Sorry.
Yeah, Cecilia.
She clung to her. She was like a little 4-year-old kid, and that's what she needed at the time. And having her mom, and all she probably thought to herself was, my mom abandoned me.
Yeah.
And so,
it's not that she thought she abandoned her. She realized that she died, and then now she's back, and it's not abandonment, but it's still like she was young. She didn't remember.
She doesn't remember, and and probably a part of her probably, is she going to take me away from my family? Yeah, kind of thing.
To be completely honest, Cecilia is more of a mother to her than Rapunzel was, because Rapunzel wasn't there. And I mean, I get why Rapunzel is feeling the way she's feeling, but I understand what Drizella is going through as well.
She's as good nature as Rapunzel was at the beginning. She didn't look at it through Drizella's eyes, kind of thing. She was very selfish. Yeah. I want my family back. Well, of course, that's all she wanted, being locked up in this tower. That's all she thought about, was I wanting my family back. But to come back and to think that, everything would be back to the way it was, kind of naive in a way.
And, I always wonder, I know kind of what would happen nowadays with that, being married and returning and finding out that your wife or husband is not actually dead. And, I know the legal of now, what would happen. There's a statute of limitation, there's a time that has to have passed. Back then, there wasn't, and I say back then, even though it's kind of present day or whatever, but it's medieval times kind of era, that's the way it's set, regardless of what time it is. It's like
if you think your significant other's dead, they're dead, you can move on.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But to think she's gone, move on. He waited, he waited a significant amount of time. How long was she gone for? It was
7 years, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say 7.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just want to say 7 years, because Drizella, because she was 3 or 4, and then she, so she was a preteen.
Yeah.
And she just had her birthday. She was just having her birthday too. So she was about around that age.
Yeah.
10, 11. That's what she looked like, and her sister looked like she was probably a good 4 to 5 years older than her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Gothel comes and wants to sacrifice Cecilia, wants Rapunzel to sacrifice Cecilia, and she comes with a Wonderland mushroom, squeeze it into her drink, and Rapunzel's like, no, I can't do that. She burns the mushroom. But the mushroom reappears on the mantle of the fireplace, and
those mushrooms don't burn, sweetie.
No. And then as some time passes, we see that Rapunzel's turned into almost like a servant, but it's of her free will at Drizella's birthday, but she does work for the family.
She works for the family because, give her access to see her family and give her a job and a place to live.
Yeah.
And even, Cecilia was nice. She's like, what are you doing? It's your daughter's birthday. She's like, she was totally accommodating. She was like.
And it's tough on Cecilia, too. It's not just tough on Rapunzel.
She was being very gracious. And I think Rapunzel was taking it out Cecilia just because Drizella was more, calling her mom. I think that's what that's what set her off, was when Drizella called her mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what set her off for sure.
And it wasn't Cecilia's fault, and it wasn't Drusilla's fault. It wasn't anyone's fault, but
Gothel's.
Gothel's fault. But Rapunzel had to blame someone.
Yeah.
She felt she had to blame someone,
Yeah.
and she couldn't really blame Gothel or do anything to Gothel, so she's gonna do what she can.
Well, apparently, whatever she did with the mushroom and the drink or whatever, it said it sent her to Wonderland. Right? So Cecilia got sent to Wonderland somehow.
Well, she got the cursed heart, remember? So she ran to Wonderland.
Oh, that's what it did. Okay. Yeah.
So she couldn't be with the person she loved otherwise, because the Hook and his daughter too.
Gotcha.
And so you can't be with the one that they love.
I don't think we're done with Cecilia's story. I think that she's going to come back up at some point.
Well, according to Alice, she got killed by the Jabberwocky, so we don't know. But up until then, we don't know how long she lived in Wonderland before
that's true.
that happened. So, and whether it really happened or not, we don't know, because they could have all ran and just thought she got killed. We don't know. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be really interesting to bring her back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not in like present day, but I don't think we're done with her in flashbacks at least.
No.
You know, but apparently after the whole thing with Cecilia, Rapunzel and Marcus ended up getting back together. We don't know what happened to Marcus currently, as far as I know.
We know he passed away. That's about it.
Right. We don't know the details of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's more to it.
Definitely more to it.
And then during this kind of reunion, the girls were building a snowman. And
why are you building the snowman on a frozen lake?
Well, they were building it next to it, and something slid across the lake.
It was on the frozen lake. They were on the frozen lake, and the hat blew off.
The snowman wasn't. They were next to the frozen. No, they were right on the. They were right on the shore of it.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. They were right on the shore of it. The hat blew across onto the lake, and then she went after it. But yeah, I don't know. And Ella and Anastasia found the ice, so Marcus went in and dove in. He could only save one of the girls, so he saved Ella.
He probably just grabbed one. He probably couldn't see.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was choosing. It was like he could only grab one.
Yeah. And he could have tried to dive back down, but, at that point, it's sub-temperatures. There's only so long before, you freeze to death.
Well, and also think about the time period that this is supposed to be in. All the clothes, and it's winter, first of all, and then all the clothes that these girls are wearing. They're wearing, underarm garments. They're wearing how many petticoats, an overskirt, and then they're wearing their jackets, and then they're wearing this and that, and they have approximately probably 6 to 7 layers of clothes on, and then they get wet, and they're like cotton and wool. They're not
they're really heavy.
They're heavy, so
yeah.
So a 70 to 80 pound girl going into the water is going to be probably close to 150, if not more, coming out in those clothes, because those are heavy as hell. So I don't blame him. I mean, there's no way he could have grabbed both of them at the same time.
No,
there's no way.
No. But Gothel ends up saving Anastasia's last breath and keeping her from dying. But she's not quite alive. So her plan is to lock Anastasia in the tower. I don't know why. I don't know what the purpose of that was going to be.
I think to keep her safe. I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know, to keep Rapunzel in line. Maybe
get more out of Rapunzel, offer some kind of deal. That was never very clear, what the purpose of Anastasia in that tower was. But Rapunzel did learn, how Gothel works, got the best of her, grabbed her magic bottle of seeds.
Pomegranate seeds.
Yeah, and threw her back in. So now we find out how Gothel ended up getting locked in the tower, and Gothel did mention the blood magic of not being able to escape, so this sets up the whole scenario for Hook. And Cinderella 456 in chat, I think that's Lewis, says... I wonder, why did Gothel take her form? Obviously to seduce men like Hook to her tower, but why? what was the point of disguising yourself at all? It's just twisted. The point was so she didn't seem like the witch,
Yeah.
and so she could escape. Like, so it's.
I don't think he would have, in her witch form, her Gothel form. I don't think he would have.
No.
That she looked like a sweet little innocent, helpless person and damsel in distress, to say the least. And that's back then, chivalrous. I mean, granted, he was a pirate, but still, he had the code and he had, he had his honor. So
yeah, and then she screamed out. Rapunzel screamed out to Marcus, where's my child? Where's our child? So she definitely has some resentment now over Ella, compared to Anastasia. And Drizella, who also, she was already more attached to Cecile, spending more time with her, for her whole life. 7 years is a very long time. And then seeing the resentment, through all that when they were just happy to have another sister, when they all looked at each other, as equals, and, there was no, oh, this is my stepsister. No, it's your sister, didn't care. And then the mother's like, where's my child? Whole, so Drizella is starting to have some resentment toward her for that. Of course,
I mean, it's all, whether Rapunzel wants to, or Tremaine wants to, believe it or not, or even acknowledge it, it was her fault that Drizella is the way she is towards her.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, she loves both of her daughters, and we saw that at the beginning. We saw how much she did love her daughters, but I think her wanting to get her family back, wanting to get back at someone for taking her family, overshadowed all that. And believe it or not, it's like Drizella lost two mothers. She lost, her first mom when she was young, and then she lost another one. So, and then she doesn't know this new, mother, even though it is her first mother. But you know what I'm talking about? It's just like, it's so much change in her. She's such an impressionable. And then hearing, where's our daughter? Where's, and then her fawning over Anastasia instead of really focusing on what she does have.
Yep.
So it was a slippery slope, and
very slippery.
And Rapunzel went right down it, and she left a lot of destruction on her path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then present day, we find out Drizella, she wants to wake Anastasia. She's now in control of all of Tremaine's assets, but she still needs to find Anastasia. So her goal this episode is to find Anastasia. In the meantime, Weaver goes to see Tremaine, and he's doing his damnedest to pretend that he's not awake. And then Tremaine offers him information about the Guardian in exchange for help out of her situation. So this is when he blatantly calls her Rapunzel. So if there were any doubts before this, this is where it solidified, because before all she said was Anastasia Drizella. The odds are very slim that there's two other kids with the exact same names, in there, right, that are daughters of somebody, but they could have been. Like we had a theory for a long time that one of the girls was not Tremaine's daughter, on top of Cinderella not being her daughter. We thought maybe this was her third marriage or something like that. So it could have been, another person's mother. It could have been like Anastasia's mother, but not Drizella's mother, and not Cinderella's mother, for example. Yeah. But it turns out, no, she is in fact Rapunzel, Drizella, and Anastasia's daughter, or mother.
Mother, yes.
And I'm like, all right, so now Weaver lets her go, and I'm getting really mad. I'm just like, you can't do this.
I know, right?
And then Rogers comes in. And
Rogers gets pissed at him.
Yeah, so Rogers was me this episode. Rogers was me, 100%. Like, he was mad he wouldn't back down. If I was in this town, that would be me.
And you could tell Rumpel wanted, it's like he's like he said, like Rogers told us, there's always seems like there's something you're wanting to tell me, but you're not telling me. And that Rumpel wants to tell him, but he can't because he doesn't have a way to wake him up.
Yeah.
And, and in his story, about wanting to find Belle. It's like, did you forget that Belle passed away?
It's something about they were to be reunited. He just has to find the Guardian and not be the Dark One.
So we'll see what happens. Maybe after he becomes not the Dark One, he dies, and then they get reunited. Yeah, that would be I
think that's his plan, to be honest.
Well, of course it is.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's like I know he can't really just come out and say, "Hey, you're Wish Hook" or whatnot.
Yeah,
just be he wouldn't believe him. And
Oh, by the way, you're just some guy from a fairy tale, but you're not even real. You were just created through another. No, that'd be way too complicated.
And honestly, when he told him that he went through his files in that filing cabinet, it's almost like Rumpel was relieved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you're finding this shit. If you find it and something triggers your memory, you'll get him back.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was hilarious. He held up the hook and he's looking at like, this seems a little familiar.
Yeah, I just love the fire alarm pull though to get into the evidence room. I thought that was pretty clever to unlock all the doors and stuff like that. But not only does he have the hook, but he's got files on
everyone,
practically everyone in town. Roger said you have over half the people. So this is when Weaver, aka Rumpel, because we can officially start calling him Rumpel now. We don't have to call him Weaver anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Tells because we weren't sure. There was a slight chance that he was not awake. There was a chance. My big question is now though, when did he wake? Has he been awake the whole time?
I think he's been awake the whole time. If not, it was right after he got injured and he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he wants anyone to know, so he could work kind of undercover and figure this out. Because for all we know, Giselle is the one that did the curse.
It seems like Giselle is the one that cast the curse, yeah.
And she doesn't know that he's awake. Her mom knows he's awake, and I'm pretty sure as he doesn't want Regina to know because Giselle was, going for Henry and they're close, and he just is like, she's too close to them. Something could happen, slip up, and it doesn't really right now. It doesn't suit any reason to tell them right now. You know what I mean? There's no reason to right this second.
Yeah.
But at least he knows. Of course, he does. He knows that Regina's awake. So I think that's why he wasn't. He was just like, okay,
yeah,
you're good. I know you're good.
Lou said Rumpel woke when Alice shot him. I'm sure of it. Yeah, that's probably when. I also love the moment when Hook saw his hook, and doesn't know it's a vital part of him. Yeah, that was really.
Then he looked at it like he paused, like
something about it, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it.
His finger.
But Red Bandit says, why is Henry the only one without a curse name? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with being the heart of the truest believer. Didn't give him a full thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't think there's no reason to.
Yeah. Nearly everyone is awake now. Cindy, Alice, Henry, Tiana need to wake up. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I don't think Alice is to a point, but she's not.
No,
because if she was, she would know that he was her.
Well,
dad.
he's saying Cinderella, Alice, Henry, and Tiana need to wake up. Not that they are awake, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's not everyone's awake because there are people that have moved away that are not awake.
Yeah,
and so they're still living their little fantasy worlds.
We still don't know what happened with Henry and Regina.
Don't forget,
they went off on their trip,
Yeah, and don't forget Henry's best friend who's kissing his wife. He's not awake either.
Yeah.
Jack. That's right, Jack.
Is that his name, Jack?
Yeah, we're talking to Jack and the Beanstalk.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, because he played a character named Jackson on the original, so it's just like I know him as Jack already from another show.
Yeah, his name. Because last time when we saw him, they were talking about climbing the beanstalks and stuff like that. His name was Jack.
Gotcha.
So
I remember now.
It's another version of Jack and the Beanstalk that's a male, not a female.
Yeah. Well,
even though I loved that idea of having a female Jack and the Beanstalk. But
Yeah. Well, Weaver was Rumpel was really open with Rogers here, and he's like, "Look, I want to get back to my wife." And Rogers like, "Look, I believe you. I want to help you." And he's like, "We have to start by finding Lucy." But at one point he goes, "He's not with Jacinda. Like that's the last place Lucy's gonna be, or she, she's not gonna be at Jacinda's." So Jacinda here, like, she doesn't know what to do about Henry exactly, and
no,
Tremaine comes in and she gives full custody of Lucy to Jacinda, and I'm like, okay, what do you got going on here? Like,
she's got a camera. That's what she has.
yeah, I guess, but it started to make sense now because it's like, oh, Jack comes in, or whatever his name is in Hyperion Heights. Jacinda's ex comes in and verifies the papers and goes for the accidental kiss, and and trying to that was her plan, was try to push them together and get them close, and share Lucy and all this stuff. But it wasn't just that. She just wanted evidence, to show Lucy later, and
wanted to break her belief.
Yeah. Literally wanted to. She goes to Lucy's school and drops off the Henry's storybook, the one from, the one we know, not the one that Henry wrote. The one that he found in the closet, Snow White, all that. And this is when, Lady Tremaine explains to Lucy, "I'm Rapunzel. I did all this stuff. I did everything. We're the same. Everything that I did for the best, and it just all fell apart, and good doesn't always win. Here, look, you want to be with Henry and your mom? Well, look, your mom's moved on. She doesn't care about Henry. Henry left and actually broke her. Just destroyed Lucy.
Destroyed her belief.
Yep.
And destroyed her in the process, because it's one life for another, basically.
Yep.
And she doesn't care about Lucy, because Lucy's not her real grandchild. So she doesn't give two shits about her.
Yeah.
Granted.
I was so engrossed in that scene with Rapunzel and Lucy. I was too. Like, I was on the edge of my chair watching that.
But, there's one little thing Rapunzel forgot, when she told Rumpel, "Where's your great-granddaughter?" Mm-hmm. That's Rumpel's great-granddaughter, and you just fucked with his family. Yeah, that's not going to be good.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, that doesn't matter how close they are or anything. You don't screw with his family.
No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean,
that's why everybody's worried about Rumpel and Henry for a long time. I go, no, like, they're family. Rumpel actually cares about family.
Yeah, I mean, granted, when he was like, when he first thought that Henry was the one that's going to undo him, I don't think he ever would have hurt Henry.
Well, that was before he realized that Henry was his grandson.
Yeah.
That was back in season 2. That was before he found out that Emma and Neil hooked up,
But even when they did, he was still kind of standoffish, because I don't think he knew how to act. I don't think because he had those two contradictions. Like, it's my grandson on one hand, but this kid could be the one to undo me. So it's kind of one of those things. But him being your grandson's going to win out because he's your blood.
Yep.
And and no matter how evil and heartless Rumpel has been, that's one thing he's always stayed true to, was his family.
Yeah. But not only this, but that tear that Lucy shed, that Rapunzel or Tremaine or Victoria, whatever you want to call her at this point, she uses that tear and actually awakens Anastasia. She's awake. But as soon as Anastasia awakes, Lucy collapses. She collapses right in the doorway to, her mother's place. Now, I know someone was asking in chat if it was the sleeping curse.
We don't know.
I don't think it's a sleeping curse.
I don't think so either, because she said,
sleeping curse required a prick finger, because we've seen the sleeping curse cast a few times now, and every time it involved blood and a prick from something. Like Rumpel induced Charming, I think, into the season 2, I think it was.
Yeah, he had to prick his finger.
And he pricked his finger. It was the whole spinning wheel thing. Like, there was a whole process to it. It didn't involve a tear, so this is something else.
Yeah, well, they were saying, even Gothel was saying, when he was talking to Drusilla, that this is basically you take one life for another.
Yeah.
So whether or not Lucy is, I hate to say it, dead, or if she's in the same state that Anastasia was before Anastasia was woken up.
Yeah, that's true. She could
they just swapped.
Yeah, she could be
positions
with her last breath or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I think Gothel's going to have some kind of plan in it. You know, she's going to have her hands in this mess.
And what is it? And why does Rapunzel think telling Rumpel all the time that don't tell me you're not scared that Gothel's out of the tower? What happened between them that supposedly scared Rumpel, but I don't think anything really could. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. I want that story. Give me that story. I want to know what happened between those two.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, like Lou says in chat, I don't think they'll kill Lucy off. I'm too macabre for this show.
I have a feeling that they swapped places, basically. Swapped elements, kind of thing.
So Gothel's going to have her hands in it. She's going to come up with some way. You got to do this for me. I'll bring him back, and it's probably going to involve, Rumpel threatening her and whatnot, but...
Well, we're running into this trope. We're going to run into this. Tremaine, thinks, oh, Anastasia is back. Oh, my baby's back, blah, blah, blah. But we know when there's a sleeping curse that we know that they're in this room of fire. We know that they're being kind of tormented.
Yeah.
We don't, and they're not. So with her on this cusp of in between life and death, where has she been in the consciousness? What's she been through? Has she been in purgatory? Yeah. We don't know. And how has this changed her? Because she's not going to be she's going to be confused, first of all, but she's not going to be the same. She might even be pissed off at her mom for what she did.
Yeah, probably. And I
don't think Rapunzel has thought this through.
No, and they made a big deal though about Rumpel finding the Guardian and stuff. Like, he's still looking, and they made sure to bring that up. And at one point, Gothel considered Rapunzel the Guardian, and she said it was everything, the whole castle, like the tower, everything, all that was a test. And she failed.
She had a pure heart. So that's why she wanted to put Anastasia in the castle, because she had a pure heart, and she thought that at least one person could maybe show that she has it. Yeah. So that's why. I remember that now. Okay. No, that's why she wanted to put her in the castle.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if Gothel thinks Anastasia, then that might be true, because Anastasia is really pure at this point. She hasn't lived much of her life, and all she ever wanted was to find her mother, bring her mother back. And then she quote unquote died. She didn't really die, but she came really close to it, and has been frozen in time since then. So, yeah, she's innocent as far as we're concerned, which gives her potential to be the Guardian. Whether or not she's going to be is another story, but I think that is going to be the case. Yeah. And that makes her really important to Rumpel as well. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Rumpel knows that she could possibly be the Guardian, because when Rogers was talking to Tiana about the fire, she was like, yeah, there was like this weird dagger that was used to open the back, and he kept putting it in my hand, asking me if I felt anything. So he's still looking for the Guardian, and he was like, he's putting it in everyone's hand.
Yeah.
to see if they feel it. So he shoved it in Tiana's hand, and she's like, this was like this really weird dagger. I was like, so he's just going around testing everyone.
Yeah, and he
doesn't know.
Rapunzel promised promised Rumpel the Guardian. So, if that's waking Anastasia, if that's the case, it seems like that's the direction it's going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Yep. All in all, I think this was a fantastic episode.
Oh, it was.
Probably my favorite one of the season. The episodes like this is my Red Riding Hood episode, of this season. Because I always say Little Red Riding Hood was my favorite episode of the whole series so far. This doesn't beat Red Riding Hood for me, but it's up there. It's up there with it.
I like episodes where everything starts unraveling and people start kind of waking up and figuring things out, and that's because then we get all these backstories about him. We always get flashbacks to the alternate Enchanted Forests, and I love those flashbacks because it makes makes them more relatable. Like we sat here and said, Victoria's horrible. She's a horrible mom, blah, blah, blah. But as telling her story, you see where she's coming from. She was hurt. She spent 7 years in this tower wanting her family. When she comes back, she doesn't have it. And all she's left with is, being able to be close to them, but not having them. Because she still had all this love for Marcus. Marcus still loved her, but he also loved Cecilia because, 7 years. He fell in love with someone else. And so that just happens. So, I mean, at the same time, her being horrible doesn't excuse it. But at the same time, you're like, you can see why she went wrong.
Yeah. But we know that Ronnie and Henry, or Regina and Henry, went away this episode, and I think it was to look for her sister. I think that's...
they didn't say. She just said someone that used to live there that moved away.
Yeah, so...
if I had to guess, that's what we thought, too.
Yeah,
we thought
Selena. So,
Zelena.
Next episode is called The Eighth Witch. When Drizella threatens the realm with a dark curse, Henry and Ella take extreme actions to protect Lucy and others. So we're gonna fast forward like a lot of time if Lucy's born and whatever.
Yeah.
And Regina is forced to make an unimaginable choice. In Hyperion Heights, Ronnie recruits Henry to travel to San Francisco to search for her sister. There we go. But when he learns Lucy has fallen unconscious, Henry rushes to be by her side. Meanwhile, Gothel earns the trust of Anastasia, and the consequences of their budding relationship could prove to be fatal. So.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
I just, we saw that when Drizella saw that Anastasia was awake, when she walked away, she was crying.
Yeah.
As much as she hates her mom, that's how much she loves her sister.
Yeah. I see the guest stars for this do include Alice, include Drizella, Gothel, Zelena, who is going to be known as Kelly. That's going to be her cursed name, Kelly.
Kelly. Every time I see a redhead, her name's Kelly.
I don't know. Anastasia, as well as Tiger Lily.
Oh, we're going to get her back. That's going to be cool.
And Baby Robin, which if we have Zelena. Then...
I don't think Baby Robin's such a baby anymore.
Well,
she's probably a toddler.
Yeah. Well, young Robin, I should say, not Robin Hood.
No.
But, Tiger Lily is interesting. Getting Tiger Lily back, because we did see Tiger Lily in the finale for last season. She's the one that was talking to Lucy and telling her how important she was in the story, all that. So getting Tiger Lily back is going to be pretty significant to the story, I think. So that's interesting. But
yeah, I really liked it.
Yep. You have anything else?
No, just waiting for 2 days from now. And then we got to wait another week. And
Yep.
And then we got to wait a whole 3 months, right?
One more episode for the mid-season finale, and I don't think we have a return date quite yet. No, it says to be announced, March. But if this is anything based on previous seasons, they usually come back the first week of March.
Yeah.
March 5th, March 6th, I'm going back, March 1st, March 9th, March 3rd, March 4th. Yeah, that's all of the previous season. So we could expect to come back the first week of March. So it's going to be a while, but this next episode is better leave us in a big cliffhanger, or I'm going to be disappointed. So,
disappointed or pissed.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
I need a cliffhanger in my life. But Rachel, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at VikingWitch76 and right here on Twitch at VikingWitch.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all and more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, MySpace, right here on Twitch and YouTube, and down below at Discord, and many, many other places. Search for
And
us /
don't
ASOTV
forget-
podcast.
Have your friends follow. Follows are free, people.
Follows are your friends. Till next time.
Can I come out of the tower now?
No, you're locked in the tower.
Damn it! What if I replace it with my daughter? Can I leave?
Yeah, blood magic.
Okay.